Today, we're going over how to detail a garment for manufacturing. We will be calling out design-specific details. These are details that may change per style, even if your block spec doesn't change. In this case, your spec sheet will be on a different page in your tech pack and will also include some of the measurement details given here, particularly if it is something that will need to be graded. For example, your pocket. To detail a garment, we will be calling out not only what is visible clearly on our black and white, but also any additional finishes or construction details we'd like to see on the finished garment. Okay. So here we already pointed out all the things we'll need to call out. We also have a flat side view of our vent. Overall, this is a basic t-shirt, cropped length, drop shoulder, kind of a boxier fit, but basic t-shirt construction. So, actually, let's go this. So let's start with our bottom hem. And this is a basic fold over hem. So let's just go ahead and call that out. This is wider than our normal t-shirt hem. So we're going to make this 1.5 inches wide. Fold over hem with 1/4 inch double needle top stitching. Now, we could also include ISO information here, but it's not necessary. It really depends on your company, your manufacturer, but typically this information is enough. But if you do want to get more specific, then you can include the ISO references for your stitching. Okay? All right, so that's our bottom hem. So we went with a 1.5 inch wide hem. Our sleeve is going to be more of a traditional size, so we're going to go ahead and make that 3/4 inch. Oops, did not delete. So 3/4 inch wide hem with a 1/4 inch double needle top stitching. Also fold over construction. Here we're just indicating that this is a drop shoulder instead of a regular set-in construction. Drop shoulder. So actually I should make my fonts a little bigger. Okay, let's see. Now here we have a side vent. We have our side view of that over here. So we can already see that our vent is a bit longer than our hem, and our hem is 1.5 inches, so we're going to make our vent 2 inches. So 2 inches long side vent with 1/4 inch single needle top stitching and DTM bar tag at top. So this right here is our bar tag. above that here, we have our logo. We have a better view of it here as well. So for something like a logo, you typically have a reference number of some sort. And I would simply put in whatever the reference is and refer to my trim page, which would have all the details, the artwork, the color, etc. for the actual art. So I'm just going to make up a reference number for this right now. So this is my logo. 1, 2, 3. Then I'd usually say what, so this is a woven label. And I can write out my placement here, or I can show it here, or I could do a combination of both. Oops. Going with a 1/2 inch above vent opening. And if you're ever unsure if your written comment is clear, it's always good to have a visual aid. I'm just going to add in my measurement here as well. So this is going to be, and I should actually also, even though you can visually see it, I should also include in my placement information that it is centered over the side seam. So 1/2 inch above and opening, centered over side seam. Okay, so that's that. So we have that here. Could also include the length here for our vent, but that's not really necessary. And then here we're just showing the inside view and a representation of how the stitching would be finished, which is a basic. Okay, so now we're on to our chest pocket. So here I have a larger view of my chest pocket already. I'm just going to mention that this is a patch chest pocket, which is evident, but again, you never know. All of this really depends on your manufacturer. Some need every little bit, some don't. So it doesn't hurt to just have your information. So patch chest pocket. Now since I have it pointed to call out my stitching here. I don't really need to include it here, but I could have written patch chest pocket with single needle edge stitching. And in fact, actually, let me do that. Okay. So from here, we're going to include our pocket placement from our high point shoulder. We could give this measurement, but I often like to leave that up to the spec tech. But this measurement is necessary. So, pocket placement. Going with 8 inches. Okay. Next we have our main label, which much like our logo label, we're just going to indicate a reference and refer them to the trim page, which I'm actually missing this here. Oops, spelled zero wrong. Just to make sure that we have to refer them to our trim page. Okay. So our main label, so this is going to be main loop label. So this is our main loop label. And then I'm just going to say, there's not really much else to say here. And our trim page and artwork will indicate placement and everything, even though it can't be seen here, but it'll be clearer on that page. So now we have our collar, and our collar is actually a different material than our body. So our collar is going to be ribbed, and it's going to be, let's say, 1 inch wide. So this is a 1 inch wide. I'm going to say B, which will indicate a different fabric box on our materials page, so that will detail the content of our rib trim. So that's a 1 inch wide B collar. And again, I could include ISO information on here if I like, but it's not necessary, though it is helpful. So here we have all our basic information entered. And here we would give our pocket measurement, whatever we like. So here I'm gonna include an 1/8 inch double needle top stitching on our pocket here, our pocket fold over. Now this is also something I could have included here, so, and then leave only measurements on here. So we're going to make this a 1/2 inch fold over. Okay, it's right here. And then you just figure out what size you'd like your pocket to be and include that information here. And in this case, our back doesn't have anything that we need to call out. Effectively, your back mirrors your front, so there's no information to call out, but it's still good to have the image here. So this is what a basic black and white would look like, minus the missing pocket information here. But this is what it would look like. It might also include, like I mentioned, ISO information as well. But for a basic beginner's guide, here you go. Hope this was helpful.